Those of you who know of me, I operate Eastern Oregon Hypnosis. Typically, the type of stuff that I do is with people for anxiety, lots of anxiety. It seems to be the one thing I seem to do a lot of, but also familiar with smoking and weight loss. And for the majority of my career, that's largely been what I've done. You know, people come to a hypnotist because they can't find witch doctor on the Yellow Pages or Google search, but they can find a hypnotist, and so make those sort of dramatic changes. And I've had very good success with that. What I'm sort of handing out here is something that was really much more of an experiment to see how much further I can help benefit people. And what I want to do is I'll go over this little program that I have and open up to any sort of questions. Typically, you know, when someone comes to me and they get a good result, that's generally the last time I have to see them. If they have to come back for a fine-tuning, wonderful, I'll be happy to work with them. And so what I was thinking after, you know, doing this for as many years as I have, I wanted to think about what other ways could I help benefit people. Okay, they come in with a problem, they leave without the problem and a benefit on top of that. How else can I do it? And I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, so you know, I have a general understanding of what can be done with hypnosis. So I developed this process. I can't say it's the very best name. It's called Enhanced Skills Training. And I've divided it into 5 to 6 sessions in which I work with somebody. Now typically what I do, this is totally low pressure, and I, up to now, have only offered it to people who I have successfully worked with. If someone, you know, sees this and they haven't worked with me, there are some conditions where, and they want to go through this, there are some conditions where I would do it. But generally my experience is if someone has success with me, I know they're going to respond really well to this. And I don't have to go through any sort of lengthy training process to sort of get them familiar with hypnosis. As I propose this, and as you'll read it here, you'll notice the fee that I have, the investment fee is $1,000. I sort of designed this with my mindset of when I was living on the East Coast. Here, $1,000 is a fair amount of money, and I'm always negotiating whatever's appropriate. At this particular point, if you want to take that and cross that up to $500 there, that's generally what I'm able to do. With this program, again, I'll go through each of the steps and the sessions that I offer with you. And keep in mind, these are people who have had a very positive result. They've come with a problem they can't control. All of a sudden, it's under their control. Now, with this enhanced skills training, the whole purpose of it is to give them even greater control. Everyone here has skills, abilities that they haven't really focused on. And one of the first thing that I do is when I'm working with someone is get them very familiar with the state of hypnosis. You can call it a meditative state, but get them into a constructed mental state in which they are at ease. I call this sanctuary. Now, however you would imagine sanctuary, it's that one place where you are the very most in control and the most at ease. And with this sort of guided process, make it as real for you as possible. Everyone who takes part in this has an obligation to follow my instructions, do homework and stuff like that. So their first session, once we build this sanctuary, is to regularly, on a daily basis, simply go there, whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes or during a bathroom break or when no one's bothering them at their cubicle, to go there and reset. And typically when you're able to get into that state consistently, you'll notice that you are more alert. You'll notice that you can respond to stressful situations much more agilely. You'll notice that you sleep better and wake up more rested. So this is very much along the lines of the benefits people get when they are regularly meditating. The first session I asked them, since the second session is sort of built around building social skills, and again, I work with a lot of people who have social anxieties. I want to get them not just free from their anxiety, but going in directions where they feel like amazingly in control in social situations. So I give them a reading assignment. The assignment is called a book called Snoop. And let's see, Snoop, What Your Stuff Says About You. And essentially what it is when you look at people, you look at their cubicle, you look at their office, you look at their car, they leave things around. And those things that they leave around says things about them. And so with this book and a little bit of my guidance, they start to become aware of what is happening with other people by looking at the environment these people have built around themselves. The benefit of this whole process is it gets them out of their head. In other words, people who are socially anxious, they're wondering, am I doing this right? How are they thinking of me? They always have this sort of cycle of worry that they go through. And by focusing now externally on other people, they're not focusing on this concern, this worry. And we go through some exercises again, giving assignments. Beyond that, I also introduced them to something called the human needs map. What, as confident as, I mean, you see these big, strong bodybuilders who work out at the gym. What you don't know is they're doing that for a reason. They're doing that for a need that is generally based on a hurt. Everyone has these hurts. It's usually a desire to feel acceptance, appreciation, respect, sometimes power. Sometimes, people will tell you a story about trouble they've gone through because they want sympathy. These are very strong needs that if you acknowledge them, people open up to you. And like I say, the bodybuilders at the gym, you can see them, and I've been one of them. They want to build up a shield of protection. Maybe it's of respect, maybe it's of appreciation. So when I introduce someone to the human needs map, again, it gets them out of themselves. It starts them looking at other people. The response I've gotten from just this area is that they feel more confident, they feel more in control of people, they feel more in control of themselves. And that's the second session. The third session is sort of interesting. I teach you how to hallucinate. And if you can imagine sitting and imagining seeing something in front of you, and then all of a sudden it's there in front of you, and you know it's not really there in front of you, but your vision is so clear and so perfect. That's what I instruct. That gives someone a benefit, first of all, of knowing how much control they have over themselves. It also aids them in the future work that we do, but it also is useful for learning, for studying. For example, if you're looking at a map or a illustration, and you remember, oh yeah, I can take a mental picture of this. You look at it for a little while, all of a sudden, you can literally just see it as clearly as it were there in front of you. So that always gets a good response. The fourth session is when really dramatic things start to take place, because one of the assignments I give them before this fourth session is to think of their ideal goals, their ideal personality traits. Think of those people in their life they want to exemplify, that they admire. And all of the personality traits that these people have. The goal of this fourth session is, after we work together, what we do during that session is we sort of design what this personality is like. that they want to be, and they leave with this personality. It's something they recognize they're capable of, but they just don't know how to try it on. The amount of confidence, the amount of security and comfort that they feel, once they're able to do that, it's just incredible. And the fifth session of the enhanced skills training has to do with our ability to learn. Typically, our learning, I like to put learning up here. And what we tend to do is try to, down here, study and remember. Studying and remember are subsets of learning, but if you've ever learned anything, if you can think back on something and say, yeah, I know this, and I know it. There's a confidence that's associated with learning. Through this particular process, we build something in which when you're studying something, you immediately sort of store it in your mind so that it's immediately ready for recall. So it's not like you have to rehearse it again and again and again. You can look at it and you can say, that's what it's like to know this information. I know it now. So anytime that need comes up for this information, you immediately recall it. So it's not so much a rehearsal, study. It's, this is what I need to learn, and as soon as you know you need to learn it, you absorb it, that information becomes formatted and just ready for recall. The amount of ease that this creates for learning is incredible. Last session is just bringing it all together, letting it fit together in a way that feels comfortable so that when you look back, it feels like it's natural. I mean, these are all very dramatic changes that I help people go through. But when you look back on the changes, it feels comfortable. It feels like there's a new person, like you got a new suit on, and go out to the world and have an awesome life experience. So what I've done with this process, first thing I did with it is I got some volunteers and tested it out. And they loved it. So that was my first step. And then as I start to offer it with people, they too get very consistent and wonderful results. So that's really what I want to explain about this. I'm open for any sort of questions. Any questions?
How long does it take when you say you're doing 5 or 6 sessions? What period of time does that take?
Well, I usually give assignments between, so I schedule them about at least a week. Read the book, that can take a week. You have to go into certain environments, social settings, so you can interact with people. That can take a week or at least a couple days, but I want to give you the experience between the sessions of what you're doing so it gets more